And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Lakers insider for Lakers Daily, joined by Aaron Larsoul, Lakers insider of the People. Aaron, did you watch the contest last
That is
night?
not true. I am not gonna stand for this Jovan Buha erasure.
It's
Jovan
not
is getting
erasure.
married in a couple months. I am not standing for this. I am the
Um,
Lakers. I'm not a Lakers insider of anything. I am just hashtag some dude.
uh, pardon the brief delay there at the top of the show. Honestly, we all should be used to waiting for things that we know is happening anyway. Like that's just been a part of this offseason, and I figured I would follow suit. I figured I would just give it a go and see how you guys respond to me making you wait for no apparent reason. Um, I didn't like it. I didn't like making you wait though, so I went ahead and went live. Today on the show, we'll talk a little bit about JJ Redick. I honestly, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a thing. Okay.
There's been no real development in the information that I have in front of me that JJ Redick, either he is the guy or he was the guy or he's going to be the guy. Like, I am still operating under the assumption and the understanding that JJ Redick is the next coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So what I'm going to do instead of going over and over and over the same bit of information and responding to the trolls and the ghouls that have been making my life
There's
a
ghouls
living hell.
like a 1989 video game.
Yeah,
There's
it's like,
ghouls.
ooh, you
Okay,
don't
all
have
right.
sources.
Okay,
No, like
okay.
I'm just gonna move on. I'm gonna move on, and I want to talk about the rest of the off season. And actually, right before we were getting ready to go live, I saw.
All right, right before Anthony was ready to go live, apparently he just removed himself from the show. So I've got it. No, it is now the Aaron Larsoul show. Oh wait, Anthony's back.
So right
Why?
before we were
No, I
going
could have.
live,
I was gonna monologue, filibuster / monologue for 40 minutes, and we would have been good. I was getting ready to take over the show.
you're better at this than Harrison is, because when that happened to me last time, so I got to get a new mouse. I have one of these mouses, one of the Apple mouses, right? And
Mhm.
anytime my finger goes over the top of it, it refreshes to the last page. It
Mhm.
goes backwards to the last page,
Mhm.
and it takes me completely out of the studio. So I just and like the stupid charging thing on the bottom of the mouse. I just got to get a better mouse. But anyway,
You don't have to get.
the
You don't have to get a better mouse. That's user error. What are you
it
talking?
is
That is
not.
user
No,
error.
it's poor. No. All right, I
That
will
mouse
cop
has a
to
very
admitting.
specific function that you just have not come to terms with yet.
No, all right. I'll cop to that. But it is objectively stupid design that they put the charger down there, and that you
Yeah, okay,
can't
that fine.
use
That
and
I'll give you.
charge your mouse at the same time. It is
Yes,
really, really dumb.
that I will give you. I mean, to be fair to Apple, though, and I don't like being fair to Apple, but to be fair to Apple, the thing doesn't need to be charged more than like once every 5 months. So
Yeah.
I like fair, but
Yeah.
okay. No, Gary Gutierrez is on my head. See, you like that? Like a little pun? He's
Yeah.
on my
Well
head
done.
about what I'm wearing on my head. No, this is not a Celtics hat. This is an Oakland A's hat. I'm wearing it in protest of the A's leaving. This is not here. I'll turn it around. This is not a, even though it is the Kelly green that the Celtics wear, it is not a hat in celebration of, I think their parade is, I think the parade is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So no, this is an A's hat.
A fun theory.
One of the last times I'll get to wear it, by the way.
A fun theory, if you want to, like, if I don't have my tinfoil hat, my children took my tinfoil hat away from me. But
Why have
if,
you let your children dive into the tinfoil hat life? Why are you letting them use this as a play prop? No.
I'm prepping them for the family business, man. Like I'm a business man.
No, dude, you want better for your children. What are you talking about? The point of being here, I am giving parenting advice.
Yeah.
I'm the
I'm really
last person
curious
you
how
want
this is gonna go.
advice from. The point of being a parent is you want better for your children.
So we are anyway, before we were going live, I was going to say, if you want to wear a tinfoil hat, the Lakers holding off on the announcement until, they can take eyeballs away from the Celtics parade is a fun tinfoil theory. If you want to run with that one, you can. But as I've been saying, as I've maintained, I am still operating under the assumption that the JJ Redick is going to be the next coach of the Lakers. That means that I'm going to move on. I want to talk about the draft. I want to talk about free agency, and I want to talk about the rest of the offseason.
All kinds of other things I can't talk about.
Yeah, the kind of shit that like we should have been talking about when the Lakers hired their head coach at the beginning of the offseason, when like normal organizations. But anyway, like right before we were going to go live, I saw a report from my dude Christian Winfield, who covers East Coast basketball. He does stuff for the New York Daily News, he'll spend some time on the Brooklyn beat, and sometimes he'll spend some time on the New York Knicks beat. And he was writing about the Knicks, and here's the tweet that he sent out. Quote, "One thing to keep in mind is the Knicks enter the offseason the luxury tax, retaining OG Anunoby and Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know. Will be costly with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle extensions looming. The Knicks are going to be an expensive team." And it made me think, like, I think eventually Julius Randle is going to get traded, because they were clearly like, if you swap out Julius Randle for a couple players who aren't Julius Randle in the playoffs, that would help the Knicks anyway. And if it makes them, cheaper, then all the better, whatever. We've already gotten wind that OG Anunoby isn't thrilled with the offer that the Knicks made to him initially. That is certainly really interesting. We've already seen it now with Paul George, that he is in a bit of a standoff with the Clippers over his contract situation. And it made me kind of realize that, like, this new CBA, I would say under the previous CBA, or under previous CBAs, plural, the Knicks would have a nice little, like, 3 to 5 year run with this core that they have put together. Now, it was put together through free agency, so that's going to shorten the window a little bit. Your window is always longer if you draft your principal parts. But
I mean, yeah, but this CBA even kind of
it affects that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Aaron. I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, too deep into the weeds, because there is no sure way to get people's eyes to roll into the back of their head and get them snoring than to talk about.
You don't want to do some CBA minutia?
Yeah, like,
I'm good at this.
It doesn't. Like Jen always says, like, we'll be on a long ride, and she'll be like, "Hey, babe, I kind of want to take a nap. Can we just talk about the CBA?"
Yeah, this is one of my areas of expertise, though. Okay.
So, but like,
you don't want to hear about extension dates and cap percentages, no?
So I was like, I've obviously been asking around, and the focus of most of my conversations have obviously been on JJ Redick. But in talking to some people, especially agents, they have really had to approach their clients' situations really differently. We just saw Gary Payton II, right? GP2.
Yep, GP2. There is a Gary, he has
there is a third. No, it's like 7.
He has multiple sons named Gary Payton. So there's a junior and the second. This one is the second. Yeah.
So GP2 opted into the final year of his contract, his player option.
Yeah, $9.1 million.
I have been hearing quite a bit of noise that D'Angelo Russell should really consider, or might, or will be really considering opting into his player option. And that just in general, we already saw Christian Wood opt into the final year of his contract. It's a minimum contract. It's kind of like, you normally don't see somebody opt into a vet minimum contract, because you would think that you could just get that vet minimum deal somewhere else and get another year stacked on top of it or something like that. But what I keep hearing, though, is that, like, you have a whole bunch of players who are just trying to get or keep their hands on whatever money, whatever guaranteed money they can right now, because teams are really reluctant to spend. And if it's a top 5 player, obviously teams are always going to just whatever it's going to cost to keep top 5 player X, you're going to keep that player. But and then it used to be your second best player, the team typically operated under the same type of approach. And then it kind of dwindled over the course of the roster as you went down the roster. But we're finding out actually that, like, even with the second best player on teams, that, like, not really sure about, there's a lot firmer negotiation going on there. Have you felt that, like, impact across the league, this new CBA? It really feels like it's like wreaking havoc on the way a lot of these teams are operating.
So this has been a thing for a couple years, but then it has come to a head, obviously, with the punitive elements in team building from the second apron. And most teams, almost all teams, are operating with the second apron basically as a hard cap. So that's part of it. The other part of it is whatever you think of player empowerment, that has had an impact on it, where it used to be that guys would look around wanting to go elsewhere, excuse me, if they couldn't, if they didn't like their situation or weren't getting what they thought they should get. And it has become more of guys are just deciding, the guys at the top of the market are just deciding, I'm going to take all the money, because you can still get more money from the incumbent team. I'm just going to take all the money, and then I'll figure it out. If I don't want to be here anymore, I'll push for a trade, and I'll make it so uncomfortable that Team X will have to trade me. So I think those factors, those things have been factors for a couple of years. And now that the second apron and what it does, I think it is owners have decided to they've decided to save themselves from themselves by rule. So yeah, I do think this is a somewhat unique, or not unique, but the landscape is different than it has
to
been.
the NBA. I think it's kind of unique.
Well,
right?
Yes,
it's a
it's
new
unique
world
now,
basically.
but going forward, I think it's going to be similar. Is why I didn't want to call it unique. But yeah, it is a kind of different operating system than we've seen before. I'm not going to mention any players by name, but yeah, I think guys, and here's the other part of it. I was going to say, I think guys they're trying to get, lock in their money, because teams, agents, and players are all kind of afraid of what the next couple of years are going to look like, as it relates to a rejiggering of the market. But the other, the other interesting part of this, there's like another kind of layer to this
wrinkle,
which is there still is an opportunity, because there have been some teams that have been hoarding cap space, and not necessarily only to try to attract free agents, because the big names just aren't hitting free agency like they used to in the past. So teams are hoarding cap space. So there are going to be some opportunities out there for some overpays. But the other interesting factor in this, and what teams and agents and players are all trying to navigate, is that the new TV deal is coming, which will bump the salary cap up 10%. They're not going to do the one like in 2016 where it just all hits at once. They've decided it's going to be 10% increase.
Yeah, more gradual.
So guys are figuring out, and you have to calculate your age now, your age when that's going to hit. So younger guys are trying to sign shorter deals because they want to get back into the market when those raises are going to hit. So I think it is kind of an interesting crossroads of all of those things, for contracts in the NBA now, it is and it has affected extension discussions, potential free agents, where guys are willing to go. I mean, it has been, kind of a confluence of decision making, and different things matter to different guys. Some guys just want every single dollar they can get. Some guys prioritize quality of living, what city they're in, their family stuff. Some guys prioritize their role. Some guys prioritize winning. And by the way, I don't begrudge any dude prioritizing whatever the hell he prioritizes. If my brother used to make a joke about Manny Ramirez in baseball, which was like, he doesn't give a shit where he plays. He will literally go to the Kansas City Royals for $1 more. Fine. If money is your thing, fine.
The
right?
Joe Johnson thing.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fine. If you prioritize money, fine. If you prioritize winning, fine. If you prioritize
ISO Joe, but then I think it was also like Moneybag Joe. I forget what it was.
So it's good. It's this interesting thing where now years matters, the money matters. Of course, money is always number one, but like your role and how you look, because you want to get back into the market to maybe take advantage of the timing of the increases. So, I mean, that's a long-winded way of saying you're right. And all of these things have affected the free agency market or the extension market and the trade market and frankly, the draft. So, yeah, all of those things have contributed to a changing landscape in the NBA.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't go so far as to say that like everybody is kind of running around with their hair on fire. Like, I don't think anybody's freaking out.
No, but there's like a little. I would call it. There's a little uncertainty. I think that is the best way to phrase it.
Yeah, like I had and actually, to those of you who are kind of curious about what the Lakers might be capable of on the trade market, I actually think we might see a bit of a correction this year where, at the deadline, teams would have rather sat on their assets basically and not moved players unless the crazy high prices were being met by way of all of the nobody wanted to take on money beyond the 1 year, and nobody wanted to take if you were giving up a even like somewhat starting caliber role player, you were expecting multiple first rounders and all of that stuff. And I think the teams, the buyers, basically sat there and like, all right, fine, you're just going to lose that player for nothing. Like you could, and I actually think we're actually heading towards a bit of a correction here, in a couple ways where those teams.
Same thing, though. Sorry to interrupt you, but one interesting point on this is, I think this is like, so everybody, especially the teams towards the top of the payroll, need, this is true of the Nuggets. This is true of, I mean, it's true of the Lakers. This is true of the Nuggets. It's true of the Lakers. The Lakers are not like the best example of this, but the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Suns, the Warriors, the Clippers, all of these teams need to backfill with cheaper talent, which means first round picks usually. However, I think there's a shift coming, and maybe already, where second round picks have gained value because the second round. So if you're a first round pick, you have a certain salary slot. You basically, like, it's already you have a guaranteed contract, and it's already, what they're going to make. Second round picks have a lower minimum. So if you can get a guy that you think is a first round talent, or you had on your board as a first round talent, you can change the calculus and get somebody signed for the rookie minimum, which is less than what first round picks are guaranteed. So whether that's shaving, maybe you're only shaving, 500,000 off a year, that matters in this new landscape with for teams up against the second apron. So I think you may see more teams trying to buy in the second round more than they have before, as opposed to the first round, because a second round rookie, you can negotiate down to the rookie minimum, as opposed to a first round rookie who has a guaranteed whatever slot they are. I think you also may see teams more willing to trade back in the first round, just
later
to
in the
save
first
on
round for
salary.
sure. Yeah, if you're sitting late in the first round, unless you just absolutely love the guy that you have an opportunity to take, I do think people are going to try to go from like pick number 28 to pick number 34, and like try and on top of all of
Especially in
that,
this draft where it's
yeah, it's a
more
lot of
kind of up in
prospects.
the air after you get past the first few. So I heard a good way to describe this draft, and I'm not saying this is my thing or my evaluation, but somebody said take like the first 6 or 8 picks from a normal first round and cut them out and then start the draft there. That's what this draft is.
Yeah. It's just the and I think in most years, the obviously inherently the later you get into a draft, the higher variance on all of these players becomes. And um like when the Lakers, was it the Christie year? I think it was the Christie year when they were able to buy into the second round, and they were able to buy at like the 32nd pick, I think is what they took Christie with. Um, I was like, holy crap. Like that is being able to
Yes,
purchase
teams
that
will tell
type
you
of a pick.
after picks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe everybody's
Yeah.
favorite pick is 31, right? Because
Yeah.
it's the first pick in the second round.
Yeah, and like you said, and in this new CBA where all of these financial things are so much more punitive, those first 5 rounds or 5 picks of the second round or so become crazy valuable, in which yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. The other thing too, the I guess the point that I was going to make as well in terms of the trade market, on top of teams basically calling bluffs enough to bring down the price of your typical role player on the trade market, because there are so many teams that are up against either the first apron, the second apron, or repeater luxury taxes or whatever. You're actually going to see a lot more impactful players available, which also inherently brings down the price of an impactful role player. It's funny. I saw some report who was saying that the government is thinking about um, giving like $10,000 to first time home
Oh, look
buyers
at this. There we go.
to help.
We don't want to talk CBA, but politics. Let's get it.
Well,
Here we
no,
go.
it's not even political. It's actually economics. But like, so when I saw that, I was like, that doesn't no. In order to bring the cost of housing down, you need to build more housing. You need to, like, if you give people money to be able to go out and buy houses, that just makes that house more expensive. Like that's just how. And it's a similar situation as you're seeing here in the trade market, where because you have so many of these teams that are trying to dip below whatever apron that they were at last year, you're going to have a lot more of these guys available than would normally be the case. And I think that in terms of like trading for a star, I don't think I don't think anything has changed as far as like what the Lakers are going to be able to do trading for a star. But I do think when the Lakers go out there and they look to turn one of their role players who has more of an impact on just one side of the ball, whether it's Rui on the offensive side or Vando on the defensive side, I think this new market and this new landscape that everybody is operating in will help them in that regard. And I do think it feels more likely that the Lakers should be able to walk away with one two-way impact player this upcoming offseason. I think that would be a pretty safe and conservative prediction for what the Lakers should be able to accomplish this year.
Yeah. So and we started seeing this. What was it? Not this past season, the season before. So this would be the 22-23 season. We started seeing, there was the I want to remember all the examples, but like we started seeing there was like the James Wiseman, Sadiq Bey, Gary Payton II, who you mentioned earlier. going, like 5 second-round picks. We started seeing like a bunch of second-round picks being, and this was true of the Rudy trade, the Lakers Rudy trade as well, where you used to see like, a first-round pick for such, and that turned into 3 second-round picks or 4 second-round picks or 5 second-round picks all over the league. And there were 5 second-round picks just getting passed around for all sorts of things. Thomas Bryant and the Nuggets was one for Lakers fans. The Mo Bamba deal had a bunch of had seconds in it. So that combined with the new rule where you can now sign second-round picks longer. And so you don't run into the issues of guys. You can't sign these guys as long as you would have. Like the Lakers used it with Maxwell Lewis last year. So I think the value of second-round picks is higher than it has ever been before, and that impacts the market on first-round picks. It impacts. Right, because usually
the Lakers have what, like 6 second-round picks at their disposal going into this offseason?
The Lakers have a nice cachet of second-round picks, yes. But you've seen it like it used to be, and even like as recently as a few years ago, it was always, okay, Donovan Mitchell is worth 3 first-round picks, or Rudy Gobert is worth 5 first-round picks, and the guy we just picked in the first round, Kessler. And everybody is still trying to figure out exactly where the equilibrium is, to your point. So yeah, I think it is a reasonable expectation for now second-round picks, especially because people have started to figure out the value of second-round picks and have started to, and this was true of Austin Reeves. He would have been picked in the second round. But his agents decided I'd rather him be a unrestricted free agent so I can pick the destination. I think he's got a good chance with the Lakers. I like the fact that maybe he can get some run. The Warriors did this last year with Trayce Jackson-Davis, where some teams had him in the first round. He was kind of a mid-20s to mid-40s pick. He went in the 50s because his agent, the Warriors, were willing to offer him a guaranteed contract. A lot of second-round picks only get two-way deals. And so there's been some manipulation of the market to get your guy to go wherever you want him because of the opportunity, because of the money, when teams now have more options to chip out guys in the second round or undrafted free agents. Will that impact what happens with Bronny? We'll see, but it's something worth paying attention to. And you're right, the value of different assets has shifted recently in the NBA.
Yeah, I think Austin's agents and that agency did that again with Colin Castleton, right? Where I think he went undrafted again, and they saw an opportunity potentially with the Lakers, seeing as at the time I don't think they had signed Christian Wood yet, and they hadn't signed anybody yet.
No.
But they
Wood and Jackson had not. Wood and Jackson Hayes had not been signed. No. And by the way, Colin, who I think can play, who was probably South Bay's best player, would have good. There was an opportunity there, and then he broke his wrist, so he didn't get a chance to really contribute to the big club. But with Jackson kind of being and Christian being gone for most of the second half of the season, I think there was an opportunity there. He just unfortunately got injured.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, this has just been so refreshing to talk about this stuff and not like
look, I haven't had to.
I can actually
drink
see
any
like
more
the
than
color
normal
in my face again. Like it's been so nice that I can like
Anthony is alive
smile again. Yeah, it's been so nice.
The color back in your face is crazy. Do you want to talk about Drake and Kendrick now? I heard you and Raj, Lazzy. You want to talk about Drake and Kendrick now?
I gotta ask. I gotta reach back out to Raj and see if he rewatched it.
My apologies, Lake Show. I'll stop interrupting.
No, it's fine. All right. Here's the thing. the thing that I've always loved about podcasting is that like I've always wanted to feel more like a natural conversation, and in natural conversation, interruption happens. There are no commercial breaks. There are like planned commercial breaks. That is, there are no like like I've done a bunch of like radio hits, and at all of them they always have to go. They always have to say like, all right, you're right up against it. You have 30 seconds. And then they give me like the most complicated question ever. It's like, all right, you're up against it. You have 30 seconds to explain the theory of relativity. Go. And I'm like, what? Hold on.
Albert Einstein. Thanks.
But no, like the interruptions and all that stuff, I want it to feel more organic and that's I'm not complaining. I'll never complain about the way that conversations go on here. But the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about, actually, to bring it coach adjacent here, is seeing as money is harder to come by with players and stuff, and given how punitive those things are, I think that's having a direct a direct impact on how much money it's costing to hire coaches, because if basically the league, and this is what they tried to do, the league tried to legislate parity. And if you're going to legislate parity and you're going to limit what teams are able to do with personnel to have personnel advantages, well, then that makes it all the more crucial to have advantages elsewhere across your organization. And that's where, you see Eric Spoelstra, what is he making? Like $13 million a year or something? No. I think he's like $16 million a year.
Yeah, it's Kerr, Spoelstra, Pop,
Monty making all that money to not coach.
Hey, that's good work.
That guy's my hero.
That is good work. Is there anything more American than that? That is the American dream right there, boy.
Yeah,
that's good work if you can find it.
So it was like, but I do think that you're going to see with coaches in general how much it's going to cost to keep head coaches, but also assistant coaches, where in kind of reaching out to people to see what the Lakers are going to be able to do this late in the game in terms of assistant coaches and the kind of market there. The thing that I'm coming to find out by talking to some assistant coaches is like, yeah, the Lakers are kind of known for doing this, and they probably are going to have to change their tune because teams like Golden State, teams like Dallas, teams like Boston, these teams that have more resources at their disposal, and B, operate in frankly a smarter way. Like those teams are throwing money around with assistant coaches too, to really gain whatever advantage that they possibly can, seeing as the advantages that they might be able to have with personnel are going to be limited by way of this new CBA. What like with the Lakers looking to hire, I'm told it's JJ. But like if with the Lakers hiring Redick at this late in the game and looking now for assistant coaches this late in the game, especially assistant coaches who their contracts are normally year to year, right? It's kind of rare that like you'll have multi-year.
No, they have multi-year assistants. No, most assistants are multi-year.
Okay, so but like, how are there clauses in assistant coaches' contracts for if and when their head coach gets fired?
So, well, not specifically, no.
Okay.
What usually happens is most head coaches, and there are a few exceptions, but most head coaches bring in their own assistants. They get to hire and fire assistants. They are responsible for hiring and firing assistants, obviously with the blessing of the front office, the president of basketball, the GM, whoever's in charge of basketball operations, oversees that. But what usually happens is if a head coach gets fired, generally the new coach will bring in their assistants. Mm-hmm. Now, there is some carryover sometimes, there are a few
We saw it
assistants.
with
Like
Miles Simons. Or
we
Miles
saw with Miles
Simon.
Simon, Phil
Yeah.
Handy
Yeah.
was on a handful of staffs. John Pasternak was on back in the day. Was John Pasternak with the Lakers was on a few staffs, and then went with and then got hired away.
Hell, even
With,
like Bill Burka has been
so
like
generally
73
John
staffs.
Pasternak is not who I meant. That was a name from the past. He did make it for a few staffs too, but he was back in the day. So generally the assistants come and go with the head coach, but there can be holdover. But they generally have multi-year deals. It's similar to the coach. The Miles Simon thing was interesting with the Lakers because the Lakers. All right, I'm gonna leave it. It was interesting. He stayed around and then he became obviously was a South Bay coach for a minute. But sometimes assistants stay around. I wouldn't be so concerned about the timing of assistant coach hiring for a couple of reasons. One, because the pool of assistant coaches is always a lot bigger than the pool of head coaches, and also teams are more willing to let assistants go to other teams, shift to other teams, if it means, and you see this with assistant coaches getting interviews for head coaching positions. If an assistant is desired by some coach, right? The Lakers or anybody else, is not Lakers specific, but the Lakers hire whatever the coach the Lakers hire. If they have connections around the league and identify, I want this person as an assistant on my staff, teams are usually pretty good about they're gonna need to probably bump up a chair or two or three and get more money, in line with that. But teams are pretty good about letting assistants go for more money or a bigger opportunity, a bigger title.
Yeah, like
So I wouldn't be concerned about the assistant pool, is what I'm saying.
Yes, there are so many assistant coaches out there that you're always going to be able to put together a fine staff. My point though is that like in terms of like operating in this new landscape where every advantage is going to matter more beyond personnel, those teams that do have the great assistant coaches are going to have even better, greater advantages over the teams that are kind of left scrambling, like we find the Lakers right now, right? Like the Denver Nuggets are gonna, thank the heavens that David Adelman didn't get hired away this year.
Yeah,
because
I mean that's
probably one of the better assistant coaches in the sport.
So I'm not going to speak about him specifically, but that is the thing, is that you have to balance the better your assistant coaches are, the better your team does, and the better your assistant coaches are, that makes them more likely to go somewhere else, to get an opportunity elsewhere. Yeah. So that is an interesting balance that teams generally have to strike. Yes.
We have a commenter saying LeBron is a player coach like Jackie Moon, and one, great reference. Two, I need to know you saw that movie. Jackie Moon is in.
No, that's not like white people shit. What is that?
Andre 3000 was literally in the movie.
Okay, there's black people in white people shit.
But what
movie is it? I don't like sports movies. No. Is it okay?
No,
Who is Jackie Moon?
All right, I gotta find the name of the movie because I'm blanking on it too.
Is that
semi-pro? It was a Will.
No, I've seen the memes, but no, I have not. No, I've never seen semi-pro.
It was Will Ferrell. It was Woody Harrelson
or something. He's got the white, white jerseys with like the lime green or the teal and orange.
The Flint Tropics. Yeah, actually, I might get a Flint Tropics jersey. I think that was the moment that I realized Klay Thompson and I were simpatico because.
Oh, that's right. He came to a game in that full fit, right? Yeah. That's so almost great. As good as the dude that goes to Warriors games as Klay
Thompson.
Klay. Yeah, like the Like you're like 6'2" and
Yeah,
like
Kirkland, Klay Thompson.
yeah. How dare you? How dare you insult Costco like that? That is not Kirkland brand Klay Thompson. That is
No,
dollar. That is dollar
the
store Klay Thompson.
the best part about that Klay Thompson guy though is that like anytime Clay shoots poorly, you can guarantee you're gonna see that
You're just
picture.
gonna see that guy, right? Yeah, Klay Thompson against whatever team. Yeah,
Yeah.
How did he? By the way, how does he
Klay
not? I think
Thompson
he
when
has
Steph
stuck into
Curry
Warriors
isn't
games.
available and it's that guy. Yeah.
Have you seen the dude that I'm sure you have, but the dude that like went in full Pelicans warm-ups and just somehow found his way onto the floor and was like
Drake?
stretching on the floor and
Or
shooting?
did that was I feel like that was Drake. Oh no, that was
No,
University
there
of
was a
Kentucky.
dude that like a fan that went. His brother like had
he took a shot.
Yeah, he did, and was like clapping, like looking, trying to get ball boys to pass him the ball so he could get more shots up.
That's
so
great. No.
yeah, I'm
But
surprised
then Drake
that dude. I
like
think he has
literally
stuck into Warriors
seriously did
games,
it.
but I'm surprised. Dollar Tree Klay Thompson has not found his way out onto the floor yet.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about? Did you watch this concert last night?
I saw, yeah, enough of it.
You're a Drake guy, right? You're the guy who says that Drake is the greatest of all time.
He is.
I feel like he had that chain yanked off of him. Like that was it.
He can still be the greatest of all time and have lost a battle.
You can't. No, you can't take this. You can't take this.
He's got the most.
Loss.
He's got the most bangers of anybody. You can call. I don't care if you want to call him a pop star. That's fine. But he's got the most bangers of anybody.
Like Michael never took a loss like this bad, right?
The fuck he didn't.
No, he did not.
Jordan took all kind. First of all, LeBron is the GOAT in basketball, and Jordan took all kind of L's. What are you talking about?
No. Like he didn't like DeMar DeRozan was dapping up Drake on the sideline in Toronto.
Yeah,
and DeMar DeRozan was there crip walking on Drake's grave last night.
Have I ever told this story? I don't know if I've told this story on. So this is in 2018 or 2018, 19. I don't know. So LeBron's first year, I was traveling with the Lakers. We go to Toronto, and it's Drake night in Toronto for the Lakers game. Of course, like everybody puts on their biggest fanfare when it's the Lakers, and so it's and the reason it was Drake night is because he or OVO had donated. I want to say it was $10 million for the naming rights for the Raptors facility.
Mm-hmm.
And this is shortly after they've won the title. So it's the OVO training facility or whatever. They've done some improvements and he's got the naming rights, right? So it's the OVO training facility, Raptors training complex or whatever. Like it's UCLA Health for the Lakers. So, all right, cool. Like, they got new training facility, Drake night. Drake wasn't there. Drake was not there for Drake night at the Raptors. He was in like a London at a concert or something. So they had Drake night at the Raptors game when the Lakers were there without Drake, which we were all looking around like, why? Where is this dude? It's Drake night did not contain Drake. Drake is. Here's how I say. Here's how I'm telling. Here's why I say Drake is the GOAT. If you go to YouTube and just like if you're playing YouTube, right? You want some music at a party or whatever. You got people at the crib, in your foyer. Mm-hmm. Get your one black neighbor to come over. You play some dominoes. You put it. You search for something like, hey, I want to hear this song or this song. You put in whatever you want. If you just put a Drake song in, you're going to have bangers for like 3 days. YouTube can just pick random songs of his and you're going to have bangers. Nobody else has that catalog.
For one thing.
However, Kendrick put hands on him. I'm not going to lie to you. Kendrick didn't put hands on him. I'm not going to lie. I think this beef is over. Kendrick didn't put hands on him.
Kendrick fucked him up so bad that Drake's next song was a reggae hey there Delilah.
Yeah, no, he's doing Afro beats now. Drake has gone to Afro beats now. No, he got hands put on him.
Look at that. ESPN sources, JJ Redick has agreed to a 4-year contract to become the next coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, is that right?
Rob Pelinka offered the job this morning.
Hold on, hold on. Oh, look at that. Hey, Woj.
Redick has started working on a staff to surround himself with experience. Well, it's a good thing we're on the air for this. Aaron, if you have to peace out, you can peace out. I think I'm probably going to have to hang out on the air for a little bit.
I had what a great shock this is too.
Yeah, shocked.
I had no idea.
Truly shocked. Never could have seen it coming, honestly. Like, not a single person. All right, I can say it.
Wait, a little Josh Hart with the eyes emoji. Josh Hart with the eyes emoji. I'm just stating facts. Josh Hart has eyes emoji.
Should I start playing? Not They Not Like Us? Should I start like?
Should we start? Should we start? Shockingly, my phone is.
Hey, Sean. Hey, half the people that I've blocked over the last couple of weeks.
Shockingly, my phone has started.
Wop.
Well, look at that. Look at that. I had no idea. That's news to me.
Yeah, I never had any. Like I can say this.
the chat is saying just needed me on the show.
You did the hold up this whole time. The Lakers were like, yeah. No, I can say this then. I'd been told as of like yesterday that Redick was basically operating as the head coach. Like he basically has been in conversations about what direction to take the Lakers roster in. Heard that he has been talking to Lakers about some of this stuff. Like this has been done since Monday.
It was done. It was done before that, but okay.
Well, I found out about it on Monday, but this has been in the works. I can now sleep. I'm honestly.
Wait, the Lakers have a head coach?
Yeah, they've had the head coach.
You don't say. You don't say.
No way.
You feel better now, Anthony?
Honestly.
Oh, wait.
All right. Laker fan me. Laker fan me is.
This is so like, funny to me. My phones. Yeah. Both of my phones just. Yeah. Now. Cool.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to do, guys. I have to hop off of here because I have a piece for Lakers Daily that is going to drop hopefully within the next few minutes. That I will be doing that on.
That you've had ready for 6
that
weeks.
I've had ready for the last week. So I will go ahead and I'm going to go and make some final.
Wait, don't do that. Wait, just stay. Wait, stay here and look at some of the chat and just just revel in some of the people. Wait, I think you should go back. If you go back up and look earlier in the chat, there were definitely people that were on your head about you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they seem to have disappeared. Weird.
They're still. Oh, yeah, unless they deleted their comments.
Yeah.
No shocker. I had no idea. It's news to me. All right. What do you think? How about this? Now, what do you think of JJ Redick as the Lakers' next head coach?
Actually, you know what? We can have that conversation.
I can now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they haven't officially.
I probably shouldn't until the Lakers announce it, but you can.
I've said it that I am like cautiously optimistic about JJ Redick. That I think he's a very detail oriented guy. I think he's a great communicator in all of those things, and I think he's going to have this. Like, I think he'll eventually, at the very least, become a very good head coach. The concern that I have, though, is that the Lakers need him to be a very good head coach yesterday. And, with this roster and with title aspirations heading into the season. And the Lakers are going to have to do a lot of work. I've heard that Scott Brooks is an option for them. I've heard that Terry Stotts is an option for them as assistant coaches. Wouldn't surprise me if Phil Handy came back to the Lakers, or basically the Lakers are going to do like actually, it's kind of perfect that we were having this conversation about assistant coaches and the advantage that you can have if you have the right assistant coaches around a head coach. In this case, with Redick being a first-time head coach, first-time any kind of coach in the NBA, you really, really need to surround him with the type of coaching talent to make all of this work. And like you said, Aaron, that pool of assistant coaches is pretty deep. The fact that you do have Terry Stotts and Scott Brooks just kind of sitting there waiting, I'm like holding out hope for maybe Stan Van Gundy. But yeah, I'm like cautiously optimistic about it. I think it'll work out eventually at the very least. But we'll see. I do really seriously have to go though. But I will say, well, I got starred comments, so I will go ahead and play this bad boy. I should just get the wop wops, right? For my
you should definitely do that.
I think although I think that would make it so that I can't monetize these shows, so I don't think I will.
Wait, if you do like if you do like a 5-second drop, it won't.
I don't know. I think I'd be okay.
Don't.
Brandon Omang writes, if JJ is hired, I'd like to see him bring in SVJ, Brooks, Handy, and Rondo onto his staff.
Brandon just wants every assistant coach name that he's ever.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't be upset if the Lakers got CP3 and Andre on the vet min. Andre,
like Iguodala. Who is which Andre?
I got Iguodala. No.
Which Andre? Drummond. He probably means Drummond.
Drummond.
I suspect that Drummond will. I don't think Drummond is going to be a vet min guy.
I do think that CP3 will be an option because the Warriors basically need to cut him to get under the second apron, and that is where a lot of people see that heading. And if CP3 is a free agent, I could see the Lakers pursuing him to basically offer up like an assistant coach on the court.
I suspect that CP3 will be a free agent because I suspect the Warriors will either non-guarantee him or trade him somewhere that cuts him. That would be my suspicion.
Yeah, I would probably say that CP3 makes a lot of sense there for the Lakers. Let's see. Wonder if the Rich Paul article changes things. Look, Rich Paul is going to say something. I actually find Rich Paul very, really fascinating, and like he's just willing to say shit now. Like a lot of agents really operate with this cloud of secrecy. Rich Paul is just like, look, the Lakers can do whatever they want. We're going to do it. We're going to handle our business on this end too. I find that really interesting. Brandon Oming again. Would you like to keep Lakers pick at 17? And does D'Lo opt in? If I had to predict it, I think D'Lo opts in. And if I had to predict it, I think the Lakers move the 17th pick to get more immediate help. But like Aaron said earlier, getting help. We saw what impact Derek Lively had on the Dallas Mavericks this year. If you get that first rounder who hits and helps you immediately, that is a huge financial advantage. Let's see. Jason Kelly, Jeannie Bus equals Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, the Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah.
The 2020 title was like Rogue One. The Lakers PR with Ham/JJ feels like Atlanta, Chicago, or Charlotte kind of stuff. Well, this is the thing. Like, all right, Aaron, to your point that you always make, if let's say when I reported what I reported on Monday, and I've stood by it this whole time, and I've never told you guys anything other than JJ Redick is going to be the head coach. But when I reported that on Monday, had Woj reported it the moment after that, or had the Lakers announced it the moment after that, would anybody have any complaints about waiting for the last few days? Because what I've been told is that JJ has actually been operating essentially as Lakers head coach for at least the last 3 days. So like, it doesn't change anything. Like Woj just happened to. This is when he breaks the story or whatever like that, or he breaks his story. But the story that I had for you guys on Mondays is the reality that I've had in front of me. Wop 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 wop. All right, let me get one more time.
Here you go.
Right, guy. Bro, you are goated, Anthony. You're owed apologies.
Oh, look at that.
Unfortunately, a lot of those people aren't going to be able to make those apologies because I've been blocking and muting a whole bunch of people. All right. I am going to, like I said, head out here. I am going to kind of gather my stuff, gather whoever is going to be able to hop on this podcast here later. And I will be back to talk about this. But I don't know if we can. I'm not even going to say breaking news. JJ Redick is the Lakers head coach. I said it on Monday.
News.
It was the case on Monday. You guys can take that for what you will. So until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Aaron Larsoul. This has been the Lakers Lounge. We'll talk to you guys